Hello, everybody. There is Jarek Bucholc from Canada Real Estate Investors Club and many other companies. I don't know even how many there are. And I would like to welcome Mr. Joe Migadel. How you been doing, Mr. Joe?
Doing great, Jarek. Thanks. How are you today?
I am always good. I would like to thank you very much for allowing me to talk to you, and your experience and expertise is very valuable for anybody who will be listening to that conversation. So, Joe, would you mind give me, longer elevator speech about who you are and introduce yourself if you do not mind?
Sure, and it's a pleasure speaking with you too, Jarek. It's always a good chat when we get a chance to a talk. So basically, I'm married to my lovely wife Sherry now for 24 years. We have 5 kids. They range in age from 35 down to 21. So
Wow.
math doesn't really add up, but the first 2 were from a previous relationship. So Sherry and I have 3 kids, and yeah, been busy working in real estate for the last number of years, and loving it, enjoying it, and that's kind of my what I'm looking forward to doing for many years to come.
I see. Okay. So what make you decided to start it to work on the real estate side of investments?
Well, basically, I'm going to go back right away. It's going to go back to about 1981. Came out here to Calgary. I grew up in Saskatchewan. Came out here right after high school. If anybody is on and watching this remembers those years, things were quite different. There was 18 to 20% interest rates. I saw a lot of people losing houses. I saw a lot of people making a lot of money in housing. I got involved. I'm a tradesman by trade. I'm a sheet metal mechanic. So lots of construction that I was involved with. Could see this going on a continual basis.
Mm-hmm.
Now, unfortunately, like sometimes happens, you get involved with life and kids and everything else, and I just kind of watched from a distance over a number of years. Very busy and very involved with all the kids' activities and things. Used to work shift work a lot. So finally, when my youngest daughter was about 14, 15, and pretty much grown up and doing their own things, is when I sort of started to take more of an active role and get myself, the start of my education about real estate and start going from there.
Okay, education, right? So, okay, we will talk about that.
Sure. Okay.
Oh, how do you feel being, having that kind of conversation, Joe? Are you feeling okay, or
Oh,
are you excited?
Of course. Open to anything.
Open to anything.
Open to anything.
Don't ask too much. Okay, so what kind of real estate investments you have done it and made so far?
Well, basically, my main focus is the rent-own strategy. I've done some land, I've done some rentals, involved in a little bit of multi properties, but mainly my focus is on the single-family homes with the rent-owns.
Okay.
If that answers your question.
Yeah. Why?
Why? Well, I mean, there's many strategies that anybody can enter into in real estate, and they're all good. They're all good, and they do wonders for many people. Now, one of the important things is to determine which strategy is a better fit for you when you start your investment journey. And if everybody is following with years and timeline and stuff, I started later in life. So the long-term buy and hold really didn't appeal to me that much. So the rent-own strategy, they're shorter-term deals. You can make a great above-average cash flow on them, a great return at the end. And probably the thing that drew me to it the most was the market. And I mean, it's, as I said, I have 5 kids, and I see the struggles that they go through in the housing market, and it's very difficult now, and getting more difficult all the time to get into houses. So this transitions to all walks of life, all different demographics. So with the rent own, I'm able to make some impact and help these folks get into homes of their own. And most of them, when they apply for a mortgage at a bank or what have you, and they're turned down, they kind of basically just forget about it for a while. And I can step in and I can help those folks over a short period of time get into a home of their own, and that in itself is pretty rewarding for me.
I see. Okay, so what kind of the investments have you made so far? Can you give me some examples? What investments you have done it?
Well, as I mentioned, I've done a little bit of land stuff. I was did a little bit of stuff down in the States, mostly around land. Regular rentals that I tried in the past, and lately the last few years have just pretty much been rent owns, and that's basically where that's at.
I see. Okay, so how do you find in those rent-own deals? Can you give me an idea to anybody who is listening and this conversation? What kind of process? How you processing? What kind of steps takes in order for tenant buyers, or how you call them, or for the sellers, or for investors? Can you elaborate more about entire process? How you're working out? How you making sure that all those parts are working correctly, and everybody who is involved has the highest chances of, closing that deal and succeeding on that, right?
Okay.
So
yeah, by all means. So basically, they're all different. So tenant buyer, I have my website, which I try to direct everybody to fill out the online application for the home buyers. So there's really, two streams of tenant buyer. Some of them have a sufficient amount of down payment, come to the table with option fee that allows enough security for investors to come on board and work with us and purchase a property within the tenant buyer's affordability range. Done title for that property, put the 20% down. That's really where their involvement ends. I look after everything else, and the investors paid an above average return. But, that's a small percentage of the applicants that I receive. So a lot of them, most of them, they still have a reasonable amount of option fee put down at the beginning. They can afford the above average market rent, which we require to be able to save them rental credits in over the course of the term. We've got good jobs, but there's really not enough security in their option fee for an investor. So with those folks, I work more with motivated home sellers. So that's sort of the second piece of the puzzle. So we market for motivated sellers, and they come from all different situations too. We work with people that that have free and clear homes that may be facing a tax implication, negative tax implication should they do an outright sale. So we're able to work with them to transition them out of the property in the course of 2 to 4 years. They stay on title for the course of the option term, so they're helping us with the tenant buyer. And they benefit from no realtor fees on the sale, mortgage down should there be some. If it's free and clear, then it's an income for them. So that's basically how we partner up the motivated home seller with the tenant buyer. So I mean, from the other end of the spectrum with the sellers is people that are having difficulties with their homes. We can come in and we can help them, get out of their situation. So we can help the home seller, we can get the tenant buyer in. It's a win-win for everybody. Now the investors as well. I work with people that are, they understand the benefit of investing in real estate, but usually they're just too busy with their own careers and their own jobs, or they just really not interested in being your typical landlord and have to deal with all those issues. So that's where my company can come in, and we can work with them. We give them, as I said, an above average return, and everything is handled by my company. So it's, the investors secured on the property. basically an assured sale at the end. They know how much they got to come in with, they know how much they're getting at the end of the deal, and they know when. So it's a good fit for a lot of folks that are looking for that type of investment, to further their portfolio. So that's kind of how all the pieces tie together. So I think that pretty much answers what you were asking.
We will talk more about that program because I believe it, and I hope you agree with me. There is a lot of people who they have misunderstand what exactly rent-to-own program is, and hopefully you will help everybody to understand. And so, do you agree that there is some perception? People are thinking that the rent-to-own has not so good reputation, right? So can we elaborate more what kind of advantages, challenges everybody can face as from the investor side, from the seller side, and from the buyer side, Joe, right? You understand, let's clarify it. Let's make
Okay,
people
sure.
understand that, whatever you're doing as a rent-to-own program is definitely, and can we agree to build reputable structure where people will be succeeding, will be having the houses, people which invest in them will make money, tenant buyers will get that house, and the sellers will be also happy, right? So what kind of things are important to make sure that the process is executed correctly? What kind of mistakes people are making? Elaborate more, just give them understanding that rent to own is very, very creative way to find the solutions, right? To
Yeah.
make things happening, right? Okay. Are you okay to elaborate as much as possible about that aspect? Because let's clear the waters, right? Let's make everybody understand that, rent to own is a very good strategy. However, has to be executed right, and has to be, everybody has to follow up with their guidance, right?
Yeah, no, by all means. So yeah, I'll clarify that somewhat. So basically, yeah, I would definitely agree that a lot of people have the misconception of what a legitimate rent-own company is, and they do, and I'll be the first to admit that there's a lot of them that are still done incorrectly, and unfortunately, the tenant buyer and the home seller and sometimes the investor, if they're involved as well, they all end up, suffering at the end. So that's the last thing that we want. And a number of years ago, when I was taking my initial training, there was a few of us that had the same stories, right? Everybody had known somebody or knows somebody who knew somebody that got ripped off. It was a bad rent-to-own deal. So what we did was there was a group of us. I'm one of the founding members. We developed a professional association called CAROP, CAROP. That's Canadian Association of Rent-to-Own Professionals. And we're Canada-wide. We're not in every province, but we're growing, fairly good pace. Initially it was mostly Alberta and BC operators, and we've expanded, since then. So basically, it is a professional association, same as when you go to your doctor, your dentist, your lawyer, mortgage brokers. They all belong to professional associations, and we have that as well now. That gives credibility to the industry as a whole. Now, not everybody that does rent-to-own is involved, but I'd like to stress that the people that are looking to enter into a rent-to-own agreement ask the rent-to-own operator if they're a member of CAROP. And anybody can go onto the site, carop.ca. It lists all the founding members, all the members across Canada, and basically the areas that they work in. So that was sort of the step one to help build credibility. Now the program itself, basically the tenant buyer, which I'll start with. So once they apply my website, I get a sort of a baseline of where they're at through my application questions. Follow that up with a phone consultation just to verify the information they've given me, and ask a few more questions and give them a chance to ask me a few questions as well. And from there, there's a list of documents that I require from them to go through the qualification process. And I mean, it's fairly in depth. qualification process that lets me see where they're. So basically, we're looking at their credit score and report now, look at their history, look at their income, looking at everything that's involved with determining the affordability they have, and anything that they may not divulge, which we can capture on their income and their credit and everything else. So
Okay.
once we approve them for the program, and not everyone does get approved. So I mean, it's a pretty high ratio of applicants versus actual buyers or clients, but that's just the nature of the business. So once we get them through the application process and determine, which stream we're going to take them down, whether we can get an investor involved and they get to go house shopping, or whether we're looking for a motivated seller to find a property that fits all their needs, whether that be bedrooms and baths, certain area of the city, close to transit, close to amenities, or what have you. And from there, once we get the program started, I mean, things are set up. We work very closely with the tenant buyer. So the two items that are paramount to success are the enough down payments saved up, as well as credit. So if we don't have both of those in line at the end of the option term, then it's going to fail. So the option term length, 2 to 4 years on average, is determined by A, how long it'll take to get the credit where it needs to be with our assistance, and B, how long it'll take them to save in the rental credits, month after month to get in 10%. And 10% is what we structure our deals for, so they have that 10% down at the end of the option term.
Okay.
Credit side of things, we work very closely with them. We have a credit repair team. We meet quarterly, and more. Sometimes it's monthly, depending on how close we are to closing or what their status is at the beginning. And I follow up with both the tenant buyer and the credit repair team to see if all the information is in agreement with what I'm getting told from both parties, and make sure we're on track, and give them guidance. And as long as they follow what's been recommended from the credit team, there's absolutely no doubt that their credit will be where it needs to be for them to qualify. And the same with the rental credits. Based on how much they start with, determines how much more we have to save in over time. So basically, we work very closely with them right through to the end, and roughly 90 days prior to completion of the option term, we start getting them prepared for their own financing, get their file sent out to lenders, and getting them the best possible mortgage we can. Now that the sellers, again, depending on the situation, right? If a lot of sellers are unable to sell their home due to equity or the price, or maybe it doesn't show quite as well as other ones in the area, so we don't put tenant buyers into anything except nice homes in nice areas. They're basically turnkey properties that don't need any renovations done. So we only work with properties that are not, the furnace isn't going to go in a year after the tenant buyer moves in, or the windows, need to be done, or the roof needs to be done. So we go through very strict criteria for the homes as well. And the investors, well, basically they come in, as I said, they know how much they're coming to the table with, length of time, and expected rate of return, which is very high for them at the end, with basically passive income. They don't have any connection to anything else other than being on title. So that's part of their security, because they are on title of the property, and essentially they're leasing the property to my company, Calgary Rent to Buy, and I intend sublet it to the tenant buyer. So I am ultimately responsible to the tenant, to the investor as well. So within my contracts, I have that should the tenant buyer default, which does not happen very often, but
Happens.
it happens. So then I am still responsible for the monthly payments to the investor. We decide between us what we're going to do moving forward. Now that may be finding another tenant buyer. May be that the investor, the homeowner, wants to keep it as a rental, or they may want to sell it at that time. So I work very closely with them, in that aspect. And so with all those things combined, we make it very, very strict and easy to follow through. and high success rate for the tenant buyer, the investor, and the home seller.
I see. Okay, you mentioned in high chance and everything, right? So, which part is the most volatile in your personal opinion, and what can happen wrong on
Okay.
those deals?
Yeah, that's a great question, and what I see, with others, and what, in my opinion, is the most important, is the credit follow-up. So a lot of people will start a tenant buyer in the program, and then you just kind of leave them. And then at the end, the tenant buyer hasn't had any direction as to what they can and can't do. As an example, the tenant buyer, we advise them that should they wish to make any large purchase during the option term, that they clear that with our credit team and myself first.
Mm-hmm.
So that means, no going out buying a new vehicle, no going on a big, holiday. Not to say they can't do that, but we have to determine the timing of the program and whether or not it's going to have an impact on their closing. And that's why we do the 3-month follow-up. And basically, that's just to make sure that they're doing what we're advising them to do, and wanting to see a progression of their credit score. And not everybody has credit issues. Some people, it's just a money issue, and they have to save up their down payment. But those ones, we still monitor the credit on the same timeline, because it's very easy for them to get sort of complacent or think everything is a shoe in, and then they start spending like they shouldn't, because the credit is good. But we have to keep it good, but we still have to work with those folks as well on the credit, which and as I said, it seems to be that's where I see things falling off, is they get forgot about, or possibly they let the tenant buyer sort of monitor it on their own or do their own credit check, and we don't do that. We make sure that it's works with our team, and we do that because it's part of the program. The program's set up the way it is because it works the way it is. Okay. And while I appreciate the tenant buyers wanting to take that role and look after their credit on their own, but unfortunately that's it's something that we need to keep a handle on as well, to ensure that they close out successfully.
Okay, so very, very important question from the perspective of your company, right? Hypothetically, I believe that you are calculating appreciation, and all the numbers should make a sense, and provided the closing date and the highest chances of closing. Hypothetically, what kind of strategies, what kind of out strategies utilizing if, for example, there's some challenges, like the value of the property is not as expected, the tenants honestly they didn't follow up the guidance of the counseling, right, for the credit repair. Can you elaborate more to make sure that people will understand that there's always a solution, right?
Yeah, you bet. No, that's another great question. And your first reference about the appreciation, I mean, that happens. I've had that happen, more than once in this environment. But that's the nice thing. We do have alternate ways of exiting. So with you're right. We determine an appreciated amount on the property, so that we know what the end buyout price is for the tenant buyer, and that's the price that we have to make sure they can afford. So that's one portion of it. So come to the end of the term, and due to the market that nobody has a crystal ball, and it's hard to see 3-4 years down the road. And I always try to, if the market allows a certain appreciation level, I will never go to that level. I will always go less, and I'd much rather close out successfully with a little less profit, but getting the tenant buyer in without any hiccups. But should something come up where the appreciated amount does not match, then we have a few options. The most common one is, all we do is we freeze the price of the property at that level, and then we continue on with the lease option term for another 6 months or a year, let the market catch up. So that gives the tenant buyers some options as well. They can continue on with the rental credits, so they have more of a down payment at closing, or they can discontinue that payment should they like and put some aside for maybe that trip that they haven't been able to take. Maybe they can go on the holiday afterwards. They can always walk away, of course, but that is a very bad, choice for them, and that really never happens unless there's other extenuating circumstances beyond their control. And so that works out. We can also do some secondary financing to make up for the difference, which I'm open to as well, to get them into the house sooner. And the second part, actually, I don't remember what the second part was. What did you ask me on the second part?
How to avoid the situation and how to make sure, right? So
yeah. So basically, yeah, as with every tenant buyer and every client, and everybody's unique. Everybody has a different situation, so they're all individual, deals. So everything is slightly different from one to the next. But because we work with them so closely throughout the length of the option term, we usually have an idea if something's going a bit sideways and we can address it. Now there's, job loss comes up, family, illnesses come up, and we on the job loss through CareOp, we actually have job loss insurance specific to CareOp members, which we offer to the tenant buyer should they choose it. It's not something that they have to take, but it's something that they have the opportunity to take should that happen. But because we work with them so close, we kind of see if things are happening, and we can work with them. I mean, job losses again. My intent is not to stick, black and white timelines. If the tenant buyer is working through the program, doing what they're doing, what they're supposed to be doing, and everything is progressing along fine, and one of these unforeseen circumstances, like an illness or a job loss, happens through really no fault of their own, then I'm more than willing to work with folks and extend things to make it work for them. Now, keeping in mind that it's investors involved, that has to be agreeable to them too. And then that's a discussion that we have with each investor at the beginning that, here's the term, it's, 3 years, potentially we could go another 6 months or a year. Are you okay with that? Or, and that's a discussion that's up to each individual as well. So basically we don't really see too many surprises, but one thing that, I have that conversation with each tenant buyer that, yeah, things come out of the blue, really not fault of your own. I'll gladly work with you, get through it, and close out, which I've done as well. I've worked with people that have had sickness, serious illnesses just happened to them, so we've worked with them. They've done everything that they were supposed to for a number of years, and all of a sudden this comes up. I'm going to do everything I can to make them close. Now, on the same discussion, I will go down the opposite side of the coin and tell them, tenant buyers, that if they do the vacation, they're doing really well, we're coming closer to the closing, and they decide to take a big holiday or buy a new vehicle or whatever it is that, they do it on credit, and now they've jeopardized their credit score and report. And it may have an impact and it may not, but if it does, then I'm less likely to be accommodating and move ahead because we've entered into this contract in good faith, as well as the legal documentation, and I want them to succeed. But I things have to be done a certain way, and we follow the guidelines.
Okay, let's talk about the partners, money partners, right? What hypothetically, I believe that nobody would do that kind of thing, but happens. What if they decided to withdraw from the deal, right?
Yeah.
How are you helping them?
Well, if the investor needs out prior to what our agreed upon timeline was, it does make it difficult. Like with any real estate, it's not really a liquid investment. You can't just stocks you can sell even though it's for a loss. You can still sell when you want. I would definitely work with the investor to try to bring somebody on to take their place. And that's one of those things we take on a case by case basis, and we try to have the investor understand this is a set term, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and if they have some questions or some doubts about being able to keep their money in that long, then maybe it's not the best vehicle for them. So the last thing I want to do is impede an investor for something they need that money for. So I try to be total transparency, open and honest, and answer all questions and try to cover all bases, because real estate investing is great, but there's definitely some negatives attached to, and there's risk involved, even though it's in my opinion the least risk out there with anything else. And with this rent-own program, I think it's lessened even that much more. But yeah, stuff comes up and investors may need their funds out, so we try to accommodate if we need to.
I see. Perfect. Thank you very much. Right. So whoever is thinking about investing and making some money, doctors, professionals, right? You're the guy, Joe. I believe so, right? So
it's kind of funny. I mean, it's those are the people that you think about kind of mostly as the professionals that have lots of disposable income, and it's true. They are very good investors. It's pretty much anybody. I mean,
of course,
RSPs. We work with RSPs, which is a slightly different program, but people that have lots of equity in their home. I do that. I'm not one to bring an investor in with the program that I haven't invested in myself, and I invest in my own deals too. And I mean, there's various ways of doing that through, as I said, home equity, lines of credit, cash. There's all sorts of ways we can help people that are unsure of what to do with their funds, because the stock market being what it is, I know a lot of people have their funds sitting in cash, just not knowing what to do with it. So it's not getting them anything there. So I can definitely improve on that return by a long ways.
No more GICs, right?
No more GICs, no.
Okay, so are you working on any deals at this moment?
Basically, right now in the Calgary market, it's still very much a buyer's market. So I have a lot of motivated sellers. So I do a lot of different marketing strategies, and right now I have a fair good list of motivated sellers looking to get out of their properties in one method or another. And I have there's, I guess, 3 that are qualified now, tenant buyers. We're trying to match them up with properties to fit their needs. And I mean, that's when I say needs, and I'll just elaborate a bit, because a lot of people have a picture in their mind of what they want for a house, and that's great. But once we get through their qualification, and we may determine that what they can afford isn't what they want, but we can definitely find them something that they need, and we can satisfy their needs. And a little bit of education for the tenant buyers, we can get them on that path to home ownership, even though it may not be in the property that they initially envisioned due to finances. But so yeah.
So simple message is you doing the deals, and whatever comes through the pipe will be happening on a regular basis based on the market, and simple, right? You're doing the job. Simple, right?
Yeah, no, we have a kind of a constant flux of buyers and sellers and money partners, right? So basically we can match all of them up. So the more people that we can help, more people come on board is kind of what it's all about.
So where do you see yourself and your company in the future?
Definitely, growing it and working on more properties, getting more of a deal flow going. Something, as I said, kind of transition. I can do this from wherever I am. I've got a great team that I work with, so it's something I can do well into my golden years. And that was one of the draws. Is it's a little off to my golden years, but they're coming. So I mean, I really enjoy the people that I meet and the people that I work with. And as I said, the kind of the main draw initially was helping people, and everybody's tenant buyers come from all walks of life. I get I get professionals, I get new immigrants, I get people that have been through some hard times, divorces and bankruptcies. We get them back on their feet and back into home ownership, and it's I think it's pretty rewarding for a lot of the investors that come on board as well. They are able to help people and make a great return on their money. So I think it's a double win for them in that aspect, and I greatly appreciate all of the investors that work in this strategy, and others for that matter. But yeah, so I just want to keep doing this and basically building, and I mean with where we grow the company, we'll just be doing different things and more multi-family. I think I can see in the future, just due to scalability and things. So yeah, no stopping anytime soon.
Okay, so let's focus more on about you and your company, right? So we covered the rent-to-own program. What have you been doing? How the challenges are related to that particular side? What kind of challenges you or your company are facing on a regular basis?
Okay, well, speaking personally, I guess the biggest challenge, and I, in all honesty, when I started this road, first few deals were easy, went pretty smooth and everything, and then if you don't have leads coming in, you really don't have anything. So the marketing was a huge learning curve for me, and it still is. There's so many ways to market, and it changes all the time. And that's where, with the team that I'm with, that's huge, because that's not my forte so much. It's not something I like to be hands-on with the different methods of media marketing and things. So that is something that is a big help to help grow my business.
Okay.
And without it, it's you really don't have anything. So you have to market all the time. You have to sort of change with the times, and of course keep on top of all the rules and regulations that continually change. I mean, I've made numerous changes to my contracts to satisfy CMHC and the banking regulations. So, I mean, I guess I was sort of naive, I'll put it, at the beginning. Saw the strategy, saw the benefit to it, and saw how much I could help people. But all the background work I sort of underestimated, I guess. So that, I guess, is my biggest challenge, is to really ramp that up, get more automated, because it's just something that needs to be done. So I hope that answers.
Sure, of course, that kind of challenges everybody are facing. And can we agree about one thing? Nothing comes easy, right?
Oh, exactly. I mean, and that's with this industry. I mean, I love learning. I love learning new things. But I also, I'm wise enough to know that some things are just not me to do myself. And that's why I enlist the help of lots of folks that are much better at it than I, to do that part of the business.
Okay. So how do you market yourself?
Well, again, the strategy for the different buyers, sellers, investors are slightly different, but essentially a combination of online and offline marketing. Right now with the sellers, we're doing a lot of actual physical flyer delivery to different areas, try to match up what I have for kind of buyers. Trying to do more of these Facebook Live types of things, get myself out there more. The offline stuff, from pull tabs to signs to online Kijiji, Facebook. This real estate community that you have going is phenomenal, and everything else that you provide is top notch and a big benefit, and just expanding that. And I mean, it's just being out and being involved in things and doing stuff and meeting people, whether that's a coffee meeting. I'm always open to chatting with anybody who just maybe not sure about the investment side, wants some more information. Love to sit down and chat about it and see where basically I need to see where the investor is to start with anyway, see if it is a good fit, and basically know, network events, good ones, bad ones. I've kind of learned over time that, you know, you don't have to go to every one. There's some that will fit what you're trying to achieve, and anything that I can do to help anybody else. You know, I'm very free and open with anything that I may know. Right? If anybody asks, I'm more than happy to explain, you know, either my viewpoint or what I've experienced, or my opinion. So um, that's kind of sort of, you know, mouth to mouth. You know, I hope to try to expand that. People that go through the program have good experiences. You know, I pay referral fees for all sorts of kind of buyers, for investors, people that may not have, you know, the means to be an investor, but bring people to me that can. Then that first person is, you know, I reward that. I find that very valuable,
Mhm.
and I'm happy to reward that service, because that's what it is to me.
Yeah, I agree. You know, real estate investing business and being associated with as many good, successful investors is a primary key. And marketing is unfortunately necessarily evil, which you have to do it. And you know my sentence, you do not know what you don't know, right? And
Yeah.
we've been learning on a regular basis how to market ourselves. And honestly, even, you know, I do really appreciate your time and output, and you are marketing yourself. I'm marketing myself, during, you know, by doing that kind of workshops, presentations, right? And you know, nothing is easy. Simple as that. So we will be wrapping up. And what kind of message you would like to pass on to anybody who wants to become an investor or thinking about real estate investing?
Anybody that's thinking about it, definitely, you know, don't listen to people that have said they've lost money in the past with a rent-own opportunity. 'Cause, I mean, it has happened, but, you know, look up the company, look up CareUp, see the integrity that we bring to the table, the people that are involved, and definitely just sit down with me, or we can do a phone call or whatever is convenient for you to discuss
Mm-hmm.
investment opportunity. And as I said, it's, you know, we spend the first meeting, we don't even talk any deals. We just basically talk about, you know, what are you looking for, what kind of return is acceptable to you, what are you getting now, what's your history with real estate. I want to make sure it's a good fit. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want, you know, I don't want somebody to have sleepless nights because they've invested their last $30,000 with me or what have you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I want to give that potential investor, you know, I want to, you know, show them integrity that I bring to the table, which is what I've always lived by, and you know, get to know them, to have them know me a bit, and be comfortable with investing with me, because as I said, it's got to be a win-win, and I don't, you know, want somebody to lose sleep, or be unsure of what they've invested in. Um, these are solid deals with, you know, title in the investor's name. They're in good neighborhoods. They're good homes. There's nothing, you know, there's lots of, as I said, other strategies, but basically with the rent own, they're turnkey homes essentially. So nothing to go wrong. And essentially, I'm basically where the buck stops anyway, regardless of what happens with the tenant buyer. So between the investor and um, I am obligated to cover all the costs that we agree on, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
great return. And I won't mention returns because I don't think I can do
I
that.
understand the vibe. Yeah, of course.
but uh, but yeah, they're above average, you know, double digit returns, and we can talk further about that. And basically, with the different types of investors that come on board, people need different things. Some need cash flow. Some are willing to hold off to the end to get the balloon payment, which typically ends up being more. But we can cater to whatever an investor needs. Some people use their line of credit or their HELOC, and that comes with a bit of a monthly cost. So they may want some monthly cash flow and some at the end. So we mix it up however we need to satisfy what the investor is looking for. And we want to, it's not a one shot thing. We want to develop a relationship with each investor and have them, be more than happy with the returns and come back and work with us for for a long time, and bring other folks in as well, and that's sort of what we're looking at. So anybody that's thinking about potentially investing, by all means, let's start out with a discussion, and we'll see where we go from there.
Okay, that is more towards the money partners and people which they would like to start investing their money first. What about those guys which are, they have enough, let's say, balls?
Okay, let's say that.
Let's say that, right? Because what would you like to tell them, right? People which they would like to follow your steps in the rent-to-own or any other strategies, or being, successful real estate investor. What would you like to suggest?
Oh, okay, yeah, no, by all means. So basically, before you start, I mean, it's you have to be committed, and it's not a quick thing. And I would suggest, determine your strategy. There's lots of books to read. I do lots of reading. I attend courses, and you don't have to attend courses. Once you determine a strategy you want, then it would be advisable to get some good education and do things with the community that I'm involved in. A lot of the stuff I'm learning didn't come from any of the courses I took. It's just getting out and learning and asking questions. And at the very beginning, attend events, put yourself out there, let people you meet know what you're doing. Lots of people are willing to help out. Lots of people are willing to give advice, answer questions. But you have to be, committed. Determine your strategy. But as you progress along, and the reason I took a lot of the course I did was not so much that I was interested in those particular strategies, but with the amount of properties and opportunities and things that I come across, I wanted to know enough to determine whether it may not be, a good rent-own opportunity, but it may be another good deal for some other strategy, in which case I can still work with those, and with the group that I have, I can tell if it's a good deal for somebody else.
Definitely.
So the biggest thing is being active, right? Being active, getting involved, and it really doesn't matter what your financial situation is at the beginning. You get educated, you go out, you ask questions, you surround yourself with people that are doing what you want to do, and commit yourself every day. When I started, I still had my regular day job, and I had to commit to doing something every day, because I found out if I didn't do 2, 3, 4 hours every day to kind of get things going, that it's very easy to skip one day, to skip 2 days. So that's just me. Maybe other people are different.
Everybody.
That's what I found, is keep the pedal to the floor and keep moving ahead, and you'll be glad you did.
Okay, and it's not easy. Many people are failing because
yeah. I agree. It's a lot of work, but trying to go it alone is not the way to go. You need to surround yourself with people that are doing what you're doing for the education, for the motivation, and for the uplifting stories, because there's tons of them, and to help you go through the not so good stories, because you'll have those too. But it's you power through those, and away you go.
So I understand. Simply, there is no money growing on the trees, right?
No, unfortunately not.
And you have to sacrifice a lot of your own time, a lot of time with the family, and not many people are succeeding. So it's not easy, right? It's not easy to be successful investor per se, to finding, to become full-time real estate investor. So I do really appreciate your valuable time, Joe, because, instead of talking with me, you could make a deals happening as we speak, right? So,
it's great. I always love chatting with you, Jarek.
Of course, and likewise. aside of the real estate investing community, right, which we build in the community for the real estate investors and people which are looking to learn more about pitfalls and mistakes and how to be successful on that side, how people can reach out to you, how they can contact you.
Okay, well, basically, the screen's up there. So I've got my Calgary Rent to Buy site, which is Calgary Rent by.com, or tanjadinvestments.com, which is TANJAD investments.com. Email J Migadel, JMIGADEL at streetsmart.com, or as well, you could get me at admin, ADMIN, at calgaryrenttobuy.com. Phone number, business line would be 587-885-0630. And I'll gladly give my cell as well, which is 403-969-9852. So through any of those options, you can contact me and we can talk further.
Perfect, Mr. Joe. So anything, whatever you would like to last second message?
It's great talking to you and everybody else out there. So hopefully people learn a few things and want to move ahead with their real estate investing journey. And people that are on here are either already involved or looking to get involved. So I'm open to chat with anybody at whatever stage you're at. And yeah, we've touched on it several times. It's not easy, but it's definitely well worth starting the journey and seeing it through. So stick with it. You'll be glad you did, as you come out the end of the other side and realize how much of a pleasure it is to be involved in the real estate industry.